Test. Hello?
Hello?
Test. Hello? Elaine's is working.
This one on.
Hel-
I think it must have been the plug there.
Okay.
All right, hold on a minute.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. Moving right along. Next item is our roll call. If you push your present button, record the roll, Miss Anderson.
22 present, 2 absent. Commissioner Jeff Ford absent. Commissioner Tommy Little.
And I've heard from both of those commissioners, and they were unable to attend tonight.
Okay.
Item 4, approval of the minutes of the regular November 14th, 2011 County Commission meeting, and copies were mailed to each commission member. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Proper motion, Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Chalifant's a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And they're approved as read. Introduction and acceptance of Highway Commission minutes. They were mailed to you. Entertain a motion. Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Hayes the second. All in favor of those signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? They're approved. Next is citizens communication. We have 9 people signed up, and our rules stipulate we have 15 minutes total for citizens communication. So if my math is correct, that'll give each person 1.5 minutes, approximately. First one is Richard Hunter, maybe, Williamsburg Road. If you'd come forward and state your name and your address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Richard Hunter, 5215 Williamsburg Road, Brentwood, Tennessee. Good evening, Commissioners, and Roll Tide or Go Tigers, depending on how you lean tonight. First, let me thank you all for your service to our community. I'm here as a concerned parent of Scales Elementary School. As you all may know, Scales is a 35-year-old and our second oldest school, elementary school in Williamson County. I understand that the Commission is investigating determining the proposed budget, capital budget for Williamson County schools, and my hope is to bring your attention to some nondescript some needs behind the nondescript line item in the capital improvement budget. The 3 main areas of concern for Scales, which certainly represent needs versus wants in ensuring an overall safe environment for our school and our children. These 3 areas are asbestos in our school, electrical equipment or electrical systems which is outdated and in violation of codes, and number 3 is outdated and unhealthy restrooms. Asbestos flooring deteriorates with age and use. Scales is a 35-year-old school, and I know removing asbestos is a priority for our school systems, but the inhalation of loose asbestos fibers, no matter how small, can lead to the development of a number of serious illnesses. This budget is necessary for the health of our children. Electrical requirements for electrical were much different in 1977 than they are today. The lack of outlets and the overuse of extension cords
Mr. Hunter, wrap it up.
causes us to violate codes with the fire marshal. And finally, the restrooms. 35-year-old restrooms have never been updated. You can imagine what they look like, what they are like for our children, and the sanitary nature of them. I ask you to consider strongly the improvement needs of Scales in our capital improvement budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Kristen Crosby. Kristen Crosby. Sorry.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kirsten Crosby, and I live at 5237 Lysander Lane in the Scales Elementary Zone in Brentwood. I'm currently the Scales Elementary PTO President. First, thank you for serving Williamson County as commissioners. I know in your role, you are faced with many and various demands for our community's limited resources. Last week, I sent an email asking you to approve the school district's capital outlay budget. My intention in sending the email was to bring a nondescript item in the school district's capital outlay plan to your attention. Thank you for your responses and interest in the condition of Scales Elementary School. While I understand, as my fellow Scales parent Richard Hunter stated, that you do not allocate funds, I'm here to ask you to keep your duty to the young girls and boys of Scales Elementary as you vote on the capital outlay budget. I would like you to once again extend an offer to tour Scales to see the conditions referenced in my email and reiterated in Richard Hunter's comments earlier tonight. Thank you for your time, and I ask you to approve the district's capital outlay budget.
Thank you. Next person, Linda Hughes.
Good evening. My name is Linda Hughes. I live at 9303 Ansley Lane in Brentwood, Tennessee. I have been a resident of Williamson County for 21 years. My husband, Chance, was born and raised in Fairview and is a graduate of Fairview High School. Our children have attended Kenrose Elementary, Woodland Middle, and Ravenwood High. I'm quite proud to be a resident of this county and find our public school system should be commended on incorporating high excellence in academics as well as athletics and the arts. We feel fortunate that Williamson County schools afford the education and opportunity that rivals our private schools. However, I am speaking to you to make you aware of what I feel is a great need at Woodland Middle School, and that is the need for a multipurpose auditorium to benefit our academic, athletic, and arts programs. For 7 years, I've observed and applauded our talented band, chorus, and drama programs while straining to hear and see them. How can this be? Our outstanding music and arts programs and their teachers take great pride in instructing our children who perform concerts, dramas, and musicals that could compete with most high schools. Woodland teachers have been very creative on making do with what they have. And a newspaper article dated March 1994 from the Brentwood Journal, adding a portable stage for the cafeteria, auditorium, or the commons area, along with a sound system, would allow for more arts activities. A plan to add a curtain around the kitchen area would permit students to use that space. This never came to fruition, obviously. Today, you are meeting to approve the school's budget request. I feel the need is even greater to bring our older existing schools up to the excellence and quality of our newer schools being built. I believe Woodland, Fairview, and Page Middle Schools are the only schools without such auditorium rooms. While I cannot speak for these other schools, I feel before we budget money towards the new building of middle schools, we need to consider building a facility for Woodland and its future students. I envision
Ms.
teacher
Hughes.
conferences. Yes.
Wrap it up.
I'm sorry. Please support our school and update our facility for the safety and benefit of our future students. We've been waiting for 17 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Brenda Jeffries.
Hi, my name is Brenda Jeffries. I'm from 1206 Brookview Drive in Brentwood. 40 years ago, I was privileged to be among the first students at Northside Junior High, which is now called Brentwood Middle School. We opened the school before the desk arrived and before the bathroom plumbing was working, but we did have a fine arts auditorium from day one. Every student and teacher in the school used that auditorium, and it is still in constant use. It's surprising that 40 years ago that fine arts auditorium was in place there, and yet Woodland has gone for 17 years without one. As the Commission considers improvements to be made to area schools, I ask you to strongly consider the funding of a fine arts auditorium or multi-purpose room at Woodland Middle. 3 of my children have been involved in the fine arts program at Woodland. Year after year, I see the enormous effort that goes into trying to turn a gym into a theater or stage. Without an auditorium, these events must be held in the gym, but the gym isn't available until the very week of the show, since the PE students and athletes need the gym for classes and for practice. The students in fine arts productions aren't able to practice with the set and props in place until days before a show. Other schools with auditoriums assemble their sets weeks ahead of time so students can practice with backdrops and props in place. And those working sound and lights have ample time to set up wiring. Woodland's wires are run all over the floor, so there's a constant threat of people tripping over the wires and hurting themselves or damaging expensive lighting and sound equipment. The sound system in the gym is never as reliable as in an auditorium. Risers must be moved onto the gym floor, and then there's constant pressure to have everything moved out immediately. because the gym needs to be used by the PE classes again. This
Mr.
also
Jeffries.
puts extra wear. Okay. Please don't let a generation pass before the work at Woodland is completed.
Thank you. Next person, Bob Bass.
Hi, my name is Bob Bass. I live at 204 Lewisburg Avenue in Franklin. I'm the president of the Cougar Athletic Club at Centennial High School, and, excuse me, over the past 3 years, we've done a tremendous amount of work at Centennial High School, spending several $100,000, gone to the community, made, I won't call them improvements, we've finished projects that were not completed when the school was built 16 years ago. We thank Dr. Looney and his staff. They've helped us the whole way, the administration, the families that have donated, but we're at a place now where we have about that much again to go. So we feel like we've reached halfway of the projects that we're able to do. However, 10 years ago, roughly, this commission made a went to the school board and asked them to provide an equity or a parity type document. And I followed that over the years. I've been here 15 years. I've been at Centennial High School for 7 years. Each year, the major component of that, the theater, keeps getting pushed forward. At the end of the day, we have drama, band, choir, fundraisers, orientations, art shows, fashion shows, ball teams, and cheerleaders who need space. There are 2 types of schools in this county. There are 2-venue and 3-venue schools. A 2-venue school like we are, get out of school, many of the kids, mom drives to school, gets them, goes back home. 5 o'clock, drives to school, drops them off, she goes back home. 7 o'clock comes and gets them, goes back home. So in essence, in a 2-venue school, our kid gets out of school at 2:30, 10:30-ish is winding down his day. A 3-venue school gets out of school, goes to practice, goes to whatever. Parents stay at work. I won't call it babysitting, but they don't have to be anywhere. 5 o'clock, come by, get their child, go home, eat supper, study, 8:30, wind their day down. So we're forced to take our concerts to local churches because of the sound is insufficient. Wrestling sets up and tears down daily. Students go home after school and wait. Young coaches with young babies go home, spend some time, come back, but they're not with them. So what I'm asking is, don't ask your school board to provide equity for this county if you're not willing to fund it. Please focus on us. We've been here for 15 years. We're getting ready to build schools for people who haven't even thought about being in this county yet. Please finish the projects. We're 16 years old. I know Brentwood, Fairview, many of the middle schools. Let's finish what we started and then focus on new schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Lisa Moody.
Hello, my name is Lisa Moody. I live at 1013 Highland Road in Brentwood. I have been a teacher at Brentwood High School for 20 years, and I am also a Brentwood High School parent, and I'm speaking in regards to the status of the Brentwood High School Fine Arts Facility. That seems to be the topic tonight. I love Brentwood. I love Williamson County. I've lived here for 22 years, and I love what I do in teaching theater. I'm concerned about our facilities. I have pictures here that I will leave for you to look at of some of the disrepair of our facility. Not only are our facilities embarrassing, but they are in disrepair and a lawsuit waiting to happen. Our school is old, and our auditorium has not had any updating done at all, except what I have paid for through the fundraising that I have done. We have broken seats. Right now, we cannot even roll the seats out. When they are out, the 2 front rows have to be cordoned off because they will not stay locked up, causing people to fall forward if they sit in them, which has happened during some performances or meetings. In December, we had 2 concerts that we had to have them bring lawn chairs and cafeteria tables so that they could sit. It was very embarrassing, not to mention just ridiculous. We have holes in the floor, which is a rubberized floor, and I have pictures of the holes. One is underneath the basketball hoop, which someone's going to going to trip and fall or do something, break their ankle, and have a lawsuit happening. We have torn pads and missing pads on the walls where if you come off of a basket, you're supposed to hit the pads and not the cement wall. We have buckled hardwood on the stage from previous leaks, and the curtains have dry rotted, and there are holes, and I try to mend them as much as possible, but it really is in disrepair. So I am asking, as with the other parents, to approve the capital outlay budget. Thank you, and I will leave these for you to look at.
If you'll leave them with Jeff right there in the gray shirt. Next person is Lisa McReynolds.
Hi, my name is Lisa McReynolds, and I reside at 115 Jasper Avenue. I represent Hillsborough School. The parents of Hillsborough Elementary Middle School are requesting the county commissioners make the facilities at Hillsborough equal to the other schools in Williamson County. Ours is one of the oldest schools in the county, and there are some areas that still need a lot of updating. We so appreciate the additional rooms that you provided with the increased enrollment of students and the auditorium. But we do recognize that the county commission was able to save a substantial amount of money by not having to build a whole new middle school. Kari Miller, our principal, her leadership team and teachers are doing an outstanding job raising the level of education for those students. I'm part of a team of parents called Hillsborough Tomorrow. We have worked tirelessly over the last year raising $300,000 to give a one-time non-capital infusion to this school. What we're trying to do is get our school on par with the other schools in the county, schools that have been able to raise money through their PTO year after year after year to buy library books and support the band. We're trying to get our school caught up to the other schools. We've been able to start a band program. We've improved the athletic facilities. We have been able to buy library books. The library books were so outdated. We've been able to do that. And now we need the commissioners to please, please help our school get our facilities current and up to the standards of the other schools in Williamson County. It's the right thing to do. I've been working with a lot of parents, and we are working hard to make that school as good a school as the other schools in Williamson County. The students in our area, many of which come from a rural area, deserve no less. It's the right thing to do. Please support Hillsborough School and the capital needs of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person, Jennifer Smith.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Smith. I live at 622 Stonewater Boulevard in Franklin. I'm here tonight to represent Hillsborough Elementary and Middle School. I have 3 children in Williamson County Schools with 1 child at Hillsborough in the 7th grade. I wear many hats. I'm the PTO president at Hillsborough. I'm an active board member on Hillsborough Tomorrow that raised $100,000 for the capital infusion, and as well as a parent. The request for technology and building updates to our school in the way of tennis courts, resurfacing, and the building of a softball field by the school system is one of many requests that would bring Hillsborough closer to being equal to other middle schools in Williamson County. As you know, we are the only K-8 school, which makes our middle school a smaller student population. With that, our school is experiencing the inability of our parent population to raise the necessary funds to maintain and add additional extracurricular, academic, and technology at Hillsborough. We presently have a student population of 520 children in grades K-8. With only 230 families, it also should be noted that 1/3 of those families qualify for free and reduced lunch programs. These figures alone state that what we face each day to support our school. We have approximately 320 students at the middle school level, being compared to schools with 900 to 1,000 students, with having 500+ families. If you are interested in taking a tour of our school to see firsthand our differences, I would like to invite you personally to visit me at Hillsborough in the near future. We need the County Commission's help to help make the experiences at Hillsborough equitable for our children, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Neiman.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike Neiman. I live at 1028 Alice Springs Circle in Spring Hill, Tennessee. Myself and some other parents are here in support also of the Williamson County School Board proposition for the capital outlay. Specifically, we are concerned about our bathroom and concessions facilities at our baseball field. Quickly, I know we're running out of time. I'll break these down into the three areas I think we're most concerned about are safety, hygiene, and actually school pride and the pride that we have in Williamson County school system. We have no bathroom facilities at our baseball or softball facilities. We currently share porta potty and portable toilet facilities. As you can imagine, it's not a very conducive situation and does cause issues with, especially with women who don't prefer to use those types of facilities. We don't have any restrooms in close proximity. We have a long walk to the football field across a very dark parking lot to really an area that's not monitored at all during that time. We feel that there are some safety concerns in regard to that. And also, when we have schools that are coming from, or teams that are coming from schools outside of Williamson County, and they look at our schools and they look at our academic performance and our athletic performance, and then they come to us with questions like, you have a school like this, but you can't have a bathroom for us to use, and we have to, apologize and say, no, this is really all we have. Also, in regard to concessions, as I'm not sure if most of you know, but as a lot of the parents have indicated, the parents and children and community really are responsible for a lot of the fundraising activities, and we're operating out of a small trailer for our concessions, and that's one of the main fundraising opportunities that we have. So a combination concession stand, bathroom would serve our school very well, increase the pride that we have in presenting ourselves to other schools, and make it a much safer environment for our parents and our fans. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This concludes citizens' communication. I'd like to take a moment and give a special welcome to Scott Sapicki, Chairman of the Murray County Commission. Scott, raise your hand or stand up. And Buddy Shackelford's also Chairman of the Murray County Budget Committee. Is that correct? And glad to have you all here, and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. So, moving on. Next we have communications and messages. Mayor Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to ask Coach Jimmy Burchett to come forward here. And as he is coming up, I would like to say from time to time we get an opportunity to recognize superior ball playing here in Williamson County. And as good as our facilities are, or as weak as they are, depending on all of the comments that were made, the credit goes to the coaches that we have here throughout our county. And Jimmy's been with us a long, long time. And prior to that, he had a couple of twin girls. I know he had more than that, but he had some twin girls that went on and played ball. Even an old UT fan like me has a hard time saying Vanderbilt, but you're always tickled to death to have Jimmy. And Jimmy, I thank you for being here tonight. Could you have all of your girls come up, Jimmy, also, and your coaches, and I'm going to read a proclamation, and then we'll get on with the business at hand. If the girls would line inside the well here, maybe Jack won't call the police on them or the sheriff on them.
They want to be on the outside of the picture.
Okay.
They want to be behind you. Face the audience, and that's what the parents want.
Yeah, why don't y'all turn around? Mr. Chairman, if you would allow me to read this is awful impressive. This is a proclamation honoring the Franklin High School Girls Class AAA State Championship Soccer Team. Whereas the 2011 Franklin High School Girls Soccer Team has achieved the outstanding accomplishments of becoming the State Class AAA Soccer Championship, and whereas the team became the first team in Tennessee since 1999 to complete their season undefeated and untied, giving up only 7 goals all year long, and finishing with a perfect record of 24-0-0, including 17 shutouts. Y'all think you were that good? Jimmy, you're going to have to help me with some of these names because I'll butcher them, but if you would you identify the young ladies up here at the microphone and I'll finish it up?
Sure. Where do you want me to start? Right there?
Your team.
Sarah B. McCorpin. Liza Harbin. Oh, you going? Joanne Street. Madison Simpson. Janie Batt. Carson Hewitt. Hannah Miller. Jilliana White. Chesney White. Emily Birchfield. Lindy Donegan. Rachel Fry. Morgan Langham. Daniel Horchie. Mackenzie Moore. Jessica Hiskey. Courtney Perkins. Hannah Hewitt. And Allie Cody.
Finally, Franklin High School is ranked as the number 2 team in the nation by ESPN and is listed as tied for number 1 in the nation by the National Soccer Association of America. It's by my fixation and the signature that we all should be joyful, and I resolve that I'm going to try to enjoy the opportunity to shake Jimmy's hand one more time. What a wonderful honor. Jimmy, thanks for everything.
On behalf of this team, I want to thank Mayor Anderson and the County Commission for this distinguished honor. You know, when you have a season like this, you expect some kind of recognition from your fans and your families and your close school personnel. But to receive such an honor from your county government leaders, it's a special honor for all of us, and we do thank you for all of this. This was a very special team, as you can imagine. We had tremendous senior leadership. In fact, they started dedicating their season before the first practice. They laid the groundwork for the season, and it's very rewarding to me as a coach to, you know, we preach extra effort and dedication and this type of things, and for a team to do these things and to excel like this is tremendously rewarding for me, and it's really they do all the honor for all of this. One other thing, I'll just like that we're very proud of with this team as well. We do emphasize academics at our school and for this team especially. And this team has a grade point average of 3.83 out of a 4-point system. All seven of our seniors will be attending a four-year school. 6 of our 7 seniors have received or will be receiving financial aid to play soccer in college. And again, thank you very much for all of this.
Thank you. I want to, on a personal note to the commission here, on January 31st, we have our ethics report to be filed, so I just want to remind everybody, I think Diane has sent out an email, and the state had sent you a letter too, so I just want to remind everybody for that, and we're moving on. Next report, we've got reports of county offices. Mayor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could have David Coleman, our budget director, kind of give you a snapshot of what's going on in our county.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we have the normal reports that we bring to you on a monthly basis. The budget report through November the 30th, and our privilege tax reports for November and December, and then also the report from the Cool Springs Marriott. All of those appear to be in order. If you have any questions on those, I'll be glad to address those. One thing I did want to make you aware of that's a little unusual, if you recall back in the fall of this year, the federal government had some trouble deciding on what their debt was going to be. A couple of the rating agencies looked at that. They were actually downgraded by S&P. Moody's, who is our rating agency, not by anything we did, but because of the federal government's inaction, put 160 cities and counties on a watch list that were rated AAA. When you have a bond rating, you have an outlook of negative, which says you may be downgraded, or stable, that says you'll probably stay where you're at, or positive, that you'll go up. When you're AAA, you only have a stable and negative because you can't go any higher. So all 160 cities and counties were put on a negative outlook. Again, not by any of our action, but from the federal government's inaction. We were reevaluated. We had a questionnaire we had to fill out, and we were notified on December the 7th that we were returned from a negative to our stable rating. So that's good news for Williamson County. If you have any questions, Mr. Chairman, on those regular reports, I'd be glad to answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Any questions for Mr. Coleman? I see none, but don't go far.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes everything. I'll answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, that completes the report from me.
Very good. Thank you. School Superintendent, Dr. Mike Looney.
Good evening, County Commissioners. Good to see you tonight in Roll Tide. I'd like to start by offering an apology to Mayor Rogers Anderson. At the Budget Committee meeting, we were having a robust discussion about a freezer that's at the maintenance facility, and the freezer was part of the construction of that facility, and I indicated to the mayor that I believe that freezer has been dismantled, but it has not. It actually is storing 500 cases of frozen chicken at the moment. By the way, we saved $5,000 with that large purchase, but the freezer is still there. So, Mayor, I wanted to clarify my comments. Didn't mean to mislead you. I want to be truthful with you. I want to share some good news in the form of a short PowerPoint tonight. As you know, the state's report card has recently been released, and the board, a little bit over a year ago now, engaged our broader community in a strategic planning process, and we decided at that point in time, and many of you participated in that we wanted to be recognized nationally for academics, the arts, and athletics. Well, the good news is tonight, well, obviously we have some of the best soccer players in the nation, but we also are doing very, very well academically. The chart that you look at, or the chart that's showing up there now, is our math scores from the 2010-11 school year, which is last year. And you can see that there are two axes. The star represents Williamson County Schools, which is an indication of achievement and growth. So achievement runs up and down. Tim, can you mouse that? Is that possible? No? On the left-hand side, if you see, it goes from 40 to 70. So that is the achievement scale. If you look across all schools, and each one of those dots represents a school system in the state of Tennessee, you can see that in math, in grades 3 through 8, we are the highest achieving school district in the entire state. Running from left to right, where it says negative 40, going to the right to positive 40, that represents growth. How much did we grow our kids, our students, in a year's time? And as you can see by that chart, we're right on the 40, which means we had well in excess of 1 year's academic growth for our students. We're not the highest growing system, but we are the highest achieving and growing system at the same time in the area of mathematics. So I want to share the information with you as it relates to mathematics and congratulate our principals and our teachers and our students. I'm going to next go to the slide that deals with reading language arts. You get the basic layout. The bottom line is that as a result of the hard work of our students and our teachers, we are the highest scoring, achieving, and growing school district in the entire state in the area of reading. By the way, this comes directly off the State Department of Education's website. The next slide represents social studies, grades 3 through 8. You can see that we're the highest performing school district in the state. We have a few districts that outpaced us as far as growth, but their achievement is nowhere near what ours is. And then finally, if you'll go to science, Tim. Oh, that's me, isn't it? Okay. We have some work to do as it relates to growth. We're the highest achieving district in the state, but we should be trying to grow our kids a little bit more. In other words, if a 5th grader is on the 6th grade level, then our job is to get them to the 7th grade level, not just to the 6th grade level, because they're already ahead of the curve. So our kids are doing very, very well in grades 3 through 8. Math, reading, language arts, we're the highest performing district in all subject areas. We are not the highest performing district in all subject areas as it relates to growth, but we're 3 out of the 4. This is straight achievement scores, and if you look at the 2011 data, which is kind of, there you go, going straight down, math, reading, social studies, and science, we have straight A's across the board. I'm going to go to ACT, which is something that most of you are familiar with. The top table represents a 3-year running average. So in 2009, our 3-year running average for Williamson County Schools, the composite, was 22.6 in 2009. In 2010, we went to 22.7, and then this last year, we went to 22.8. Statistically speaking, the researchers tell us that a .10 growth on an ACT score is significant. And if you have 2,500 seniors, which is about what we have, to get all those kids to grow a little bit is phenomenal. This past year, you can go down to the next table, Tim. Those are 1-year averages. You can see that in 2011 we had 22.8. And then this is our value-added scores in the area of math, which is the first row. We went from a D in 2010 to a C in 2011. In the area of reading and language arts, we went from a D in growth to a B in growth. Bear in mind that getting students that perform on the high end of the bell curve, there is a school of thought that it's harder to move those kids further down the continuum. I don't know if that's a true argument or not, but it is an argument that many people make. Social studies, we stayed exactly the same as it relates to growth. We scored a B in 10, and we scored a B in 11. And in the area of science, we're not doing as well as we need to as it relates to growth. Now, achievement, we're doing very, very well. We're the highest performing district. But we're not growing our students as quickly as we would like to. So we're going to begin focusing on how do we make those improvements in the area of science as it relates to growth. That completes my presentation about the status of the school district. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Looney. Any questions for school superintendent? Commissioner Danner?
What was your goal, again, for the system's average ACT score? Where do you want to take us?
Well, in our strategic plan, we want to get to an average ACT score of 24. 24. I think it's important to note that when you compare schools in Tennessee, to school systems across other states, we test all of our students, and most states don't. So we got to make sure that when you're comparing how we're doing to others, find out what percentage of their kids are testing. Most of ours are, and in most states, they only test the college-bound students, and we're still doing better than most.
One more follow-up.
Follow-up.
The science growth grade of a D, that's our overall district grade. We have some schools that have Fs, and some schools that have Ds, and some schools, right? That's our average?
Yes, ma'am. I am sharing with you the district scores,
District.
not individual school scores.
Got it.
Commissioner Ryan?
Dr. Mooney, congratulations on those scores. I know it's something that, that we all share the pride that you guys do with those. Question for you regarding the possible construction of a middle school in the South Franklin area off of Kenpeck Lane. Can you give me an update on that? We have quite a few folks in our district that are constantly asking about the status of that.
You're referring to the Oakview property site?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your question. As you know, we currently do not have sewer at that site, and we did originally have a middle school in the 5-year plan. Because of the rezoning process, we moved some students to Hillsborough School, and that has pushed the need for that school back a number of years, frankly, until we see growth reemerging.
I noticed, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I noticed on the 5-year capital outlay plans, are there plans to moving that within the next 5 years, or is that, when you're saying quite a few number of years, is that past that 5-year?
The 5-year plan is our best projection of what's going to happen in the district. Every year, the school board vets that plan, makes changes to the plan based on new data that we've collected. And so the closer to the current year we consider items on the 5-year plan, the more sure we are of that need. It is very feasible that we'll be surprised based on growth. As an example, with the Berry Farm development coming to fruition so quickly, it might very likely necessitate a reevaluation of both our student enrollment projections and our 5-year capital plan.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was just asking questions about your presentation. Is this the time where I can ask?
Let me ask, does anybody else have a question for Dr. Looney? Okay, Commissioner Tanner.
Can I ask a budget question?
Yes.
Not relating to his presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. And I might need Leslie to answer this. I just need, I kind of need you to show me the money, so to speak. I want to get an accounting of the $11 million that has been spent apparently from your fund balance in the last 6 months. You started the budget season in July with a surplus, actually $19 million. I think it was $4 million higher than what you needed to start, that the state required you to have $15 million. And so in the budget committee meeting, I was surprised to hear, and I think others were too, when you were asked how much you had in your fund balance, you said $8 million. So I'm curious to know if you could just kind of give us an outlay of what that $11 million was spent on.
I'll do that for Ms. Holman. I want to take you back to the last budget process that we went through. In July of this last year, Mrs. Holman sent each of you by email a recap of the budgeting process and how all those numbers worked out. Long story short, we used approximately $8 million. Leslie, what's the whole number? Do you know? $8,026,000 to fund the current year's budget out of that $19 million. So we left the school year with $19 million, but to start the next school year, we had to spend $8 of it. Then on top of that, if you recall, we had approximately an $8 million capital request, which we ended up retracting from the budgeting process based on what we believe to be an agreement with this body that we would come and revisit the majority of that capital request at a later time, specifically around October. However, we also collectively agreed that we could spend $3 million of fund balance money to take care of the immediate needs over the course of last summer to make sure that we could have school. So the money, we'll be glad to account for every penny that we've spent, and we have charts and tables to do that. But the reality of it is that money was used to fund the budget according to the plan that was laid out to the commission last budget process.
I thought $1 million of it you had to use for raises. Is that?
That's a true statement, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is that part of the $3 million that you used for immediate needs?
No, ma'am. The $3 million that I'm referring to is for capital projects.
Okay, so 3 plus 8 is 11, but what about the additional $1 million you used from fund balance for raises?
Well, the fund balance, the $1 million for the raises is inclusive in the $8 million because that was an operational expense. So when I said we had to take $8 million to fund the current year budget, that is inclusive of the almost $1 million that we had to use for the pay raises.
I understood the $8 million that you needed for your operational budget, that you declared that need before we raised taxes and before you had a $4 million surplus that came in once the sales tax revenue rebounded and once the BEP formula was fully funded. So you're telling me after it was fully funded, after you had a $19 million starting point, then you needed $8 million out of the fund balance to shore up your operating budget? Yes?
Mrs. Holman says yes.
Okay. Well, I have a request for the current school board members and anyone who may be thinking of running for school board. I'd like to request that this county consider putting your checkbook online so that we can see where the money's going. Because I know that you shouldn't have to have a county commissioner or a school board rep or any taxpayer have to find out where $11 million got spent in the last 6 months. I think that's fair public knowledge, and that I'd like to see you do that. There's lots of counties. I have a list of them. I'd be happy to email all the school board reps of the counties that are doing that, and I'd like to see this county do the same.
We'll be glad to consider that, Ms. Danner. I would make mention of, I would add this response, though. We have a roughly $240 million operating budget, so $11 million over the course of 6 months. It's $11 million is a lot of money, but in the scheme of our operating budget, the truth of it is it's not.
In the scheme of your fund balance, it's a lot.
Yes, ma'am, I don't disagree with that.
Good. Thank you.
Any further questions for Dr. Looney? I see none. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Moving on to elections and appointments. We've got a... Does anybody else have a report? Any other committee wishing to report? I see none. So we'll move on to elections and appointments. The first one we have is Adjustments and Appeals Board, 4-year term expiring January of 2016. The building representative is Roy McCartney, and the nomination is Roy McCartney. I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Proper motion, second. And we can vote on these as a whole? Okay. And then the building industry representative is John Lee, term expiring. Nomination is John Lee.
Move for approval. Second.
Commissioner Cook, second. So we're all in favor of Roy McCartney and John Lee, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And they are so nominated. The Agricultural Committee, 2-year terms expiring January 2014. The farmer position, term expiring is Jesse Dotson. Nomination, Jesse Dotson. Second. Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Cook, second. Farm woman position, term expiring Sharon Hatcher. Nomination, Donna Stanley. Commissioner Green, Commissioner Hester, the second. Commissioner position, Commissioner Tom Bain, term expiring. Nomination, Commissioner Tom Bain. Mr. Cook and Commissioner Chalfant. Commissioner position, term expiring, Commissioner Jack Walton. Nomination, Jack Walton. Commissioner Cook. Commissioner Green, the second. All in favor of those Ag Committee personnel, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And I will recuse myself. So they pass with one abstention. Or 2 abstentions, I'm sorry. Mr. Bain abstained. Next is Public Administrator, Guardian, and Trustee, 4-year term expiring January of 2016, term expiring Tom Taylor. Nomination, Tom Taylor. Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Wilson, the second. All in favor of Tom Taylor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? He passes unanimously. School Board Member, 9th District Representative, filling unexpired term. This term will expire August of 2012. Resigned, Barry Watkins. I have a nomination that was sent to you, Rick Wimberly.
Second.
Commissioner Brockman, Commissioner Williams on the second. Commissioner Danner?
Is it open for discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, wait just a minute. Let me see if we've got any other nominations. Are there any other further nominations? I see none. Now, Commissioner Danner.
I just have a question for the process. I thought that we were going to get the other applicants' information, much like we did for the judicial clerk position. We had, last time we kind of, I call it hiring by vote. We hired that position and we had other information. When I called the mayor's office, I don't think the mayor's office had the applications or the information. And so I'm struggling with how to make an informed vote without any information on any other applicants. Do we have that information? Is it available?
Can I answer that?
Yes, please.
It was I was informed that Commissioner Williams and I would be nominating a candidate who comes forward for this position to fill out the term of Barry Watkins for the 9th District. Sort of, I guess it's a standard operating procedure, legislative courtesy. And so in looking at the candidates, it was our decision to nominate Mr. Rick Wimberly, and we're pleased to offer his name for this position tonight. And therefore, it was not a process that we were going to, we were asked to find a nominee and a candidate, and we did.
And
so it was not appropriate to bring forward the other candidates who came forward who did qualify. So it was not something that was, he rose to the standard that we thought was appropriate and a very strong candidate, and he's here tonight. So
Fully appreciate the two of you doing that, and even more so appreciate the candidate for even throwing his hat into the mix. I mean, we think our job's hard, but school board, I mean, I appreciate him wanting to throw his hat in, but because I don't have any of the other information, just personally, I just wanted for the record to say I'm going to have to abstain because I don't know who else the candidates were.
we felt like we were responsible for that portion of it.
Yeah,
So
thank you. And typically, Commissioner Danner, the commissioners in that district, or the years that I've been here, when something like this happens, they bring forth a nomination. Now, somebody else can bring forth another nomination too, but
Okay.
and that's kind of the way it's always worked. So the only nomination I have is Rick Wimberly. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstain.
One abstention. Is Mr. Wimberly here?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Would you like to say a few words?
If you don't mind.
Yeah, please. We'll break.
Dr. Looney tried to hand me a pile of papers. I asked him to please wait until after the commission voted. I guess I can take the papers now. But first of all, let me thank Commissioner Brockman, Commissioner Williams for this nomination. I know you had good candidates, and I appreciate your choosing me. I know it was a difficult thing to do. I'm very honored to receive the recommendation, and then really appreciate the full commission's vote. This is very exciting to me. I mean, I've had on my mind a lot lately a lot of the problems that we suffer locally and nationally and in the world and in our homes, and I really believe that many of these problems are not ones that we can solve, that they're going to have to be solved by the young people. And Williamson County is in a particularly good position to groom the young people to be superb problem solvers through our emphasis on academics and athletics and the arts.
Now, I'm not an educator. I'm a businessman with a passion for education from a family of educators. And I will tell you that in my professional job, I deal a lot with strategic plans. And I know a good one when I see one, and I really believe that the Williamson County strategic plan for its schools is very strong. And I want to do everything I can to support that plan and to do it while being a good steward of the county's money. So again, thank you very much for this honor, for this opportunity. I hope to do you proud, the people of District 9 and the kids of Williamson County. Thank you.
Thank you. We're all standing behind. Next item is the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Cook, Commissioner Smith, the second. Everybody ready to vote on the consent? If you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Very good. Consent passes. Moving on to new business, we have nothing under zoning. Appropriations, resolution number 112-2, resolution appropriating $45,080 state lottery grant funds in the general purpose school fund 2011-12 budget for after-school tutoring program at Centennial High School. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Langston, the second. Education Committee?
6-4-0 against.
Commissioner Bain, Budget Committee?
5-4-0 against.
Don't have the school board here, but Pat? 11-0. Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Jones?
This doesn't require any local funds. It's lottery money to provide for a tutoring program at Centennial High School.
Very good. Any questions? I see none. You ready to vote? If you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-3, resolution appropriating $5,366 within the general purpose school fund 2011-2012 operating budget for PTO funded position. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Wilson, the second. Education Committee?
5-4, 1 against.
Budget Committee?
5-4-0 against.
School Board, Leslie, you have that? 10-1. Explanation, Commissioner Jones?
This is where the PTO is asked to help fund a part-time teacher at Scales Elementary. If you want to know what they're teaching, I think Dr. Looney or somebody like that could answer that question.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'm assuming that once these funds dry up, the position would no longer be there? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Commissioner Cook?
I wanted to know what the position was or is.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for asking that. It's actually a teacher assistant position. We typically do this, and if they desire to have this position moving forward, then they would have to submit the appropriate documentation and the funding associated with it. So this is actually a teacher's aide position.
Commissioner Barnwell?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to state that I believe that if the position is required in a school, it should be the school system paying for it, not the PTO, so I won't vote for this. To me, if it's a valid position, we should pay for it through our system. Thank you.
Any further questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of 112-3, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
21 yes, 1 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-4, resolution appropriating $650,000 of excess central cafeteria fund balance for replacement, renovation, and new equipment. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Hancock, the second. Education Committee,
6-4-0 against.
Budget Committee,
No vote. It was deferred to this meeting for some
And-
information that superintendent, I suppose,
okay.
has.
Leslie, you got the school board vote? 11-0. Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Jones?
The school board came to us saying they needed some replacement, and this is a self-sufficient operating fund. And if you have any other questions, I'm sure the members of the school board will be able to answer those.
Okay. Commissioner Danner?
I pulled this resolution from last year, and it has more than doubled this year. And so I'm so curious, did you have your more than double the amount of children buying lunch, or how does the fund do that?
Am I recognized?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you for your question. The answer is absolutely yes. A couple of things have happened. One, we've started buying bulk quantity, and thus we're using that freezer that we talked about. But we have added a significant number of students that are eating breakfast at our schools. The count that I was given this last week was 15,000 additional breakfast meals. Also, it's significant to note that the reimbursement rate from the federal government is higher than the rate that we charge for free and reduced lunch students, obviously for free, but for reduced. And so the more students that we have that are of poverty that eat breakfast, the more money we get recouped from the federal government. So we're actually making money by serving more meals. And so we have more students that we're serving. We're getting more reimbursements from the federal government. The law states that we can't have an excess child nutrition program budget, and therefore we have to spend it.
Follow-up?
One follow-up. Last year, I felt like we had a list of all the ovens and all the things that you were going to apply that money to. What is your intent with this money this year?
To do exactly the same thing, and that is to purchase and replace old equipment that is no longer operable or cost-effective to operate. We're trying to buy more cost-effective as far as energy-efficient equipment goes, and so we'll be replacing and then salvaging the equipment that we no longer need or intend to use and putting that up for auction.
Do you have that list online on your website?
The list of the equipment that we're going to purchase or salvage?
For which schools? Like just the list like last year, an oven for this school, an oven for that school?
It is not currently online, but certainly don't mind providing that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dwight Jones?
Dr. Looney, I would like to know which schools are going to be receiving this money. I don't, I don't like just giving $650,000 to somebody and not know where it's going. There's got to be a list of schools that this money is going to or allocated to.
Yeah, we certainly have that list. Leslie, do you have a copy? Jason? Yeah. We can provide that before you, Jason, if you'll go recover that document.
Commissioner Herbert?
The Budget Committee, that, was it possible to use some of this excess funds to pay off some of the bonds for some cafeteria equipment, that freezer? What did you find out about that?
Yes, ma'am. Our understanding of is the answer is no. We cannot lower the price of our meals long-term, and we can't use the money to pay off bonds. And I sent the mayor some information relating to that. I didn't send it to the entire commission, but I sent it to the mayor.
Follow-up, Commissioner Herbert? Good. Commissioner Danner, did you want to speak again? Oh, okay. Any further questions?
I can answer that question now. Thank you, Leslie, it was in the board packet. New walk-in freezers and refrigerators for the following schools at $350,000. Fairview Elementary, Grassland Elementary, Scales Elementary, Fairview High School, Brentwood High School, Walnut Grove, Crockett, Trinity, and Bethesda. New serving lines for the following schools: Crockett, Grassland, and Woodland. Replacement of dishwasher at Fairview Elementary School, $20,000. Combi ovens for better cooking methods, $100,000. Ravenwood, Brentwood, Independence, Sunset Elementary, and Middle.
Is that what you're looking for, Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Williams? Question's been called.
Second.
Got a second? Who was my second? Chalfant, Commissioner Chalfant? All in favor of calling the question, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Question's been called. You ready to vote? All in favor of Resolution 112-4, if you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
Okay, 22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-7, resolution amending the 2011-2012 Highway Department budget and appropriate up to $400,000 for purchase of a wheel loader for the quarry. Commissioner Hancock? Proper motion. Commissioner Wilson, the second. Highway Commission, do you have that vote? Anybody? I think it was a unanimous.
5-0, they said.
5-0, okay. Budget Committee?
5-0.
5-0. Explanation, Commissioner Hancock?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a wheel loader quarry. It's over 20 years old. They've exceeded the point of diminishing returns. They've tried to fix it and patch it up and fix it and patch it up, and now it's to the point to where it's just throwing good money after bad. There's about 94,000 tons a year that are moved at least once and sometimes twice or 3 times before it leaves the quarry. Appreciate your support.
Very good. Any questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of 112-7, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution number 112-10, resolution amending the 2011-12 Highway Department budget and appropriate up to $113,091.43 for maintenance and fuel costs. Commissioner Bain?
5-0.
Move for approval. Is that what you said?
Second.
All right.
I second.
Commissioner Hancock, second. Highway Commission, 5-4, 0 against. Explanation, Commissioner Bain.
This is the County Highway Department completed works for the parks. I saw Parks Director back there, and this is just an accounting of that work.
Okay. Any questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of 112-10, if you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-13, resolution requesting the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners approval of an intent to fund up to $26,515,448 for the 2011-12 Board of Education capital outlay needs. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Brockman, the second. School Board was 11-0. Education?
5-4-2 against, as amended.
Budget Committee?
1 for, 4 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
This is a request for capital, to start capital projects beginning this year by the school system.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend 112-13 to propose that the Scales project is presented be approved with funds to come from leftover Clovercroft monies. The remainder of the proposed capital outlay needs are to be deferred for prioritization by the school board.
Second. Proper motion, second. Commissioner Chalfant. Commissioner Brockman, I'm sorry, I'll get to you in a minute. And any questions on the motion? And did you want to, on the main resolution, Commissioner Brockman?
Well, I did, but I could speak now I support the renovations at Scales Elementary. There's no question that we need to support that effort. I just want to say philosophically about the money that's being asked for schools in terms of renovation and maintenance. I just feel so strongly that that is money that we need to spend, and think about the priorities are important. But, you know, we fund new schools, but I think the point was made that we have an enormous responsibility to improve the schools that we already have, particularly the older schools. So I just support the funding. Obviously, I support the Scales funding.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Brockman. Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me say, in sympathy with the folks who got up here and spoke, there's probably not one of us up here who has not been actively involved with the schools at some point or another, one or more of the schools. My tenure as chairman of Centennial's Sports Booster program was, I don't know, 1998, 99, somewhere along in there. And we wouldn't have had dugouts for the softball and baseball field if we hadn't come up with somebody to donate the brick and provide the construction. So this kind of thing goes back a long way. And I support the scales problems, but I see other issues on this list that I think are needs. We've got a school system that has, 35, 40 schools in various stages of age, and you have a physical plant of that size, it's going to take constant maintenance. I've gone down through this list, and I see maybe $9.4 million that's needed just in terms of ongoing maintenance. Just take care of the roof, take care of the safety issues, take care of the electrical issues. So in this particular time, in this the difficult budgets that we've had the last couple of years, I can support those things. Some of the others, we're just going to have to live with those issues for another year or 2 or 3 or whatever, in my opinion. And I don't know how we get to that point if we defer and ask for an additional, for a new listing with priorities or whatever. I'm not ready to support or vote for any particular item without a more comprehensive proposal to come back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Ricky Jones?
That was my question. This can be deferred for a month or whatever, and a priority list come back to the commission, correct?
Until it comes back from the school board. But they meet between our meeting now and our meeting next month.
I think the motion was, and correct me, Commissioner Bain, if I'm wrong, there's $3.3 million.
I think it's actually 1.8.
Oh, well, 1.8, and that's what,
Yeah.
but it would be funded out of the monies left over.
It's 1.8.
Yeah, 1.8 for scales.
Okay.
But it will be funded out of the $3.3 million that they have left over.
Yeah.
So, and then the rest of it, the school board will come back to prioritize it. All right. Any further questions on the amendment? I see none. You ready to vote on the amendment? If you're in favor of the amendment on Resolution 11213, push the yes button. Opposed? Would you restate the amendment, Commissioner Bain?
Propose that the Scale School project as presented be approved with funds to come from leftover Clovercroft monies. The remainder of the proposed capital outlay needs are to be deferred for prioritization by the school board.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
I understand the Scales project is 1.8 million,
Yes,
and there's an excess of 3 point
something.
something.
Yeah, whatever left over.
Book.
Well,
Cross.
they said
Okay.
minimum of 3, but 3.3, and it
Okay.
could be more.
Thank you.
All right, everybody ready to vote? Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Hayes? Commissioner Smith, did you want to speak again?
Just to reaffirm my comment, if we're going to defer the majority of this whole list, let's defer it all and get it back next month. Why are we picking and choosing at this point? That's all.
All right. Commissioner Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for yet another question, but to Commissioner Smith's comment, I'm assuming that most of this work will be done during the summers, during the summer months, and so I'm not sure what the urgency is here. You know, my particular concern is looking at this list and considering the debt load that this county has currently. In my mind, there's 2 true priorities on this list. The rest of them are all wants. And so in my mind, I don't understand what the rush is if we're not going to be doing any of this until the summer anyways. So, thank you.
Anybody like to change their vote? Okay, one.
I would like Dr. Looney to come up and tell us when this work would be done, or is this something, because, I mean, you would have to close the school to rip out all the asbestos. You know, so I need to have your opinion of what's going on.
Thank you. Just for the sake of clarity, the Board of Education does have an upcoming meeting, but the agenda for that meeting has already been established and submitted to the public. So the board would not be in a position to take this back up until the March meeting officially. So I just wanted to clarify that point. To speak to I won't speak to the priorities because that doesn't seem to be the question, but to speak to the issue of why now and why can't we begin the process, I want to be clear that we're not asking for the funding now. We're asking for your approval of the intent to fund. And here's what's significant about that. In order for us to prepare for the Scales renovation project and the roofing projects where we have current active leaks in roofs today, we have to design that work, get it approved through the building commission, select the appropriate contractor through a bidding process, and all of that takes a good amount of time. So for us to be prepared to do construction this summer, we would need to have that process, the journey begin much sooner than, you know, a latter time. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, back to the minute. Anybody wishing to change their vote? I've already called for the vote, so. Anybody wishing to change their vote? Do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
17 yes, 5 no.
All right, the amendment passes. So now we're voting on the resolution as amended. Any questions on the resolution as amended?
Would you restate?
Commissioner Bain?
Yes. Linda, did you get an official on your machine there? I'm going to get close, but you have the exact wording?
This is what I entered, but I just have a little space to enter.
Okay.
So the clerk would be the official recorder of it.
You have it. I mean, I can do it again, but would you like to defer that? Okay. Propose that the Scales School project as presented be approved with funds to come from leftover Clovercroft monies. The remainder of the proposed capital outlay needs are to be deferred for prioritization by the school board.
Okay, that's 11213 as amended. That's the amendment on 11213. So, any discussion on the resolution as amended? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor Resolution 11213 is amended, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
17 yes, 5 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-6, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an intent to lease agreement with U.S. Congressman Marsha Blackburn's office. Commissioner Langston. Commissioner Wilson, the second. Property Committee.
5-4-0 against.
All right. Budget Committee.
5-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Langston.
Yes, this would allow Mayor Anderson to work an agreement with Representative Blackburn for office space in our historic courthouse, and he would be able to work out that agreement in terms of square footage, cost, and things of that nature.
Very good. Any questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of 112-6, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time.
Commissioner Bain.
I hit it.
Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you. 22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-8, resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation. Commissioner Hancock.
Move for approval.
Proper motion. Commissioner Wilson, the second. Highway Commission. 5-4-0 against, I think. Budget Committee.
5-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Hancock.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I think this is a follow-up to some things we done earlier, but I'm going to defer to the mayor and let the mayor, if he don't mind, going through the particulars of this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is in regard to the, excuse me, the work that is being done on I-65 north and south out around Paynesville Road.
Any questions? Commissioner Ryan?
Mayor, I'm sorry. Question for you in terms of with the agreement, it mentions in here that should TDOT require assistance conducting the road improvements, that what duties specifically are we talking about?
I don't know that I can give you a finished product unless Bobby has seen it all. Have you seen the finished product? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, some of the obligations would be if they're going to be working our right-of-way, we give them permission to work in our right-of-way. If an improvement is done and it's going to be on a county road, the county will take that over for maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I see none. If you're ready to vote, 112-8. If you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-11, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Franklin for the provision of extra-duty police officers to monitor county events. Commissioner Bain?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Chalfant, the second. Parks and Rec Committee?
Parks and Rec is 5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Commissioner Green. Budget Committee?
5-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Bain.
Yeah, this is for extra police when we have various governmental activities or things that the county would be involved in, and we've grown quite large and we need extra help.
Any questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of 112-11? If you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 112-12, resolution amending the 5-year capital improvement program for schools, roads, fire protection, and recreation. Commissioner Bain?
So moved.
Commissioner Brockman, the second. Highway Commission, 5-4-0 against. Education Committee?
6-4-0 against.
Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec 5-4-0 against.
Law Enforcement?
7-4-0 against.
And Budget Committee, Commissioner Bain.
5-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Bain.
This is required by state law, and Mr. Coleman gave us a great explanation at the Budget Committee, and I'm hoping he's here tonight. That's right.
To make it short, Mr. Chairman, when the Privilege Tax Private Act was passed back in 1987, part of that provision was that on a regular basis you would update your 5-year capital plan that those privilege taxes would be used for, and we have chosen to do that on an annual basis.
Any questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of Resolution 11212, if you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 11215, resolution accepting donation of a vehicle to the Sheriff's Department and authorizing the execution of a vehicle donation agreement with Nissan North America. Commissioner Williams?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Hayes, the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
6-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
5-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Williams.
Nissan North American Corporation is donating a vehicle to the Sheriff's Department, and with the understanding that it cannot be sold or discarded for 3 years.
Commissioner Danner?
Wanted to go on record, I'm going to abstain from this vote because my husband works for Nissan, and I so appreciate the generosity of Nissan. I had nothing to do with this deal, but I'm just going to, to make sure there's no conflict, I'm going to abstain.
Very good. Commissioner Hayes?
I'd just like to thank the sheriff for his expertise in begging. He was asking he was asking the Budget Committee how he did that, and he said he begged a lot. May I encourage him to go and keep on begging?
It'll look good on his resume. Any further questions? I see none. You ready to vote? All in favor of Resolution 11215, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
21 yes, 1 abstain.
Resolution passes. Resolution 11216, resolution to request amendment of TCA 40-1-111 relative to the appointment of judicial commissioners. Commissioner Williams?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Brockman, the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
6-4-0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Williams.
You bear with me just a second. On the initial, we met prior to tonight's meeting, and there needs to be amendment made to the original resolution.
Okay.
And that and do you want me to read that into the record?
Please.
Second.
Yes, please. Or have we got it on the table?
It's on.
It's on our table? Okay, all right. Do we need to
It was
read it?
handed out just
Okay.
before.
No, we
Everybody
got it.
has it.
Is it? No.
I can paraphrase it if you want me to.
You can read the amendment, but you don't have to read the statutory language attached to it.
All right, whereas it's the intent of the county commission to request an amendment to Tennessee Code Annotated 40-1-111 to place the power of appointment, retention, reappointment, and supervision of the judicial commissioners with the General Sessions judges of Williamson County, except if the General Sessions judges fail to agree on an appointment or reappointment of a judicial commissioner, the county commission will appoint the judicial commission as more particularly stated in attachment A to this resolution, and that attachment A is the legal part of that. And what this is doing is removing the judicial commissioner from the mayor's budget and back under the supervision of the General Sessions. And the only time we would be involved If they couldn't agree on an appointment of a magistrate, then we would in turn appoint the magistrate, but they've maintained supervision over the county magistrates.
Okay. Any questions on the amendment? So have we got it on the floor?
Yes.
Okay, all right. If you're ready to vote on the amendment for 11216, in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution, the amendment passes. Now we're back to the main resolution as amended. Any discussion on that? I see none. You ready to vote on 11216 as amended? If you're in favor, push the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Very good. This concludes tonight's meeting.
Alabama's up 3-0.
Yeah, I just want to make a statement. One team's leading 3-0. Go home and figure out which one that is.
What was the score?